Well, what about you? As you can see, it's actually a lovely morning. The water is flat calm here at the minute. I'm round. You'll probably not be able to see too much here behind me, but I'm just coming past Whitehead. I thought I'd stop and talk about what I'm planning to do today. I actually forgot some equipment here, so I'll just have to play it by ear. But what I want to do is I want to use this Kabura jig. Actually, I want to run out to, there's like an inshore wreck here. I just want to give it a try just to see what's going on. I'll see if there's any bait fish and stuff about, and if it's still nice by that time, then I'll maybe see about heading out to deeper water. But yeah, the forecast today is actually quite light winds. They're coming easterly, so you know. But I don't know. At the minute, it looks perfect. I'm not gonna lie. I'll spin the boat round. You'll be able to see it here. I can literally see for miles. I can see Scotland already, and yeah, the water's flat calm the whole way out. That you don't get many like this. I can tell you now. Not around here. That's the Copelands. They're springing around there. That's the Bangor Grimsport. You can see there's a stand line. Yeah, there we go. So, oh, actually, looks as if there's some bait under the boat. Let's give it a go. Try and give it a go. My mackerel rod's just an owl. It's a fire, yeah. Shakespeare Firebird. Is it Shakespeare? Yeah, it is Shakespeare. Yeah, Shakespeare Firebird. It's just an old cheap resin rod. I'm not gonna lie. You can feel it after you've been using it for a while, putting in a few mackerel. But it's handy. You don't, like, for certain things you don't really need like really expensive gear and stuff. I'm not gonna lie, you do notice the difference, you know, like the rods are nicer, like they feel a lot lighter. Like this feels like a big heavy beast, but don't get me wrong, this is a, what is this? This is a 30-pound rod, you know, so it's quite a heavy rod. The reel is just literally, it came with it. It's an old Firebird 20-pound multiplier on a 30-pound rod. But like, you can go fishing with as cheap or as expensive gear as you want, and you'll still catch the same fish, to be honest, like, you know what I mean. So it just means that at the end of the day your arm might be a bit sore because of the weight of the gear. You know, what I found is that the more expensive gear is a lot lighter. It's a lot less clunkier, but it still does the same job, especially if you're only out looking for the likes of pollock and mackerel and things like that, you know. But I'll give us a bounce. I'm just stopping and bouncing every now and again. You know, the mackerel and herring and stuff that live all through the water column, so you just have to kind of work your way up and down it. But yeah, you just have to, couple of winds, couple of bounces, and that's you. These are what you need to look out for. I don't know whether you can see that, but that's like a pot ender. It's like a string of pots, so there'd be like a string of like lobster, crab pots running up here. And normally what'll happen is sometimes they'll have an ender at both ends. Actually, there it is there. So there's one there and one there, and so they'll probably have a string of about 10 pots running along there. Now, normally they use like sinking ropes and stuff like that, so everything is lying right on the bottom and it's pretty well stretched out. But those boys will obviously have ropes going down to the pots, and you don't want to go too close to them, because depending on what way the tide is, obviously if the tide's running this way, you'll have the ropes coming down to the pots at an angle, with the buoy kind of getting pulled by the tide. So you just have to be really careful whenever you're coming past them. I always give them a wide berth anyway. Just look, if you get them wrapped up in your prop, like, it's not going to be a good day. Right, I'll wind this up here. I'm not really seeing much in the sounder here, so I'll skim past on up here and we'll see what happens, and then I'll go out to this inshore wreck. It's a wreck called, I think is it Chirripo or Chirripo, or I don't know, whatever it was like, but it's a pretty big wreck. It's about 300 meters long, I think. What I'll do is I'll dig out the details of it whenever I'm sorting out the editing of the video, and I'll put the details on it. But basically it's quite popular for diving, for people that do diving and stuff here around low water. But it's a ship that sits basically with its, I think it's bow basically towards Whitehead Lighthouse, and it's about, I don't know, it's about a kilometre off the coast, but it sort of sits across the tide, so you don't really get a good drift over it, because you're drifting over it sidewards. So you have to be down and ready for going across the top of it, see what's going on. But look, see, because of where it is, everybody seems to fish it, so it's pretty well fished out. Now, I'm sure there's probably decent sized conger and stuff on it, like, but you need to go down with the bait. And unfortunately I left my house without the bait this morning because I'm a tube, but that's why I'm trying to see what I can feather up here, but we'll see what happens. We're going to get the wash from that standing line in a wee bit. I don't know whether you'll see it. Normally it's okay on a day like this, it'll be fine, you'll see it coming in. But if it's a bit of a rough day, it can be a bit of a pain, because it can cause a wee bit of a weird sort of wave pattern. You can be rocking and rolling. You just need to make sure that you're hitting the waves right. Right, let's go. Right, so I'm just sort of coming over the rack. I'm gonna drop my little Kabura jig down. Right, I don't know whether this is gonna be heavy enough to get me all the way down there, but we'll see. See how it goes. These are best fished vertically, but I am drifting here at about a knot over the top of this, so I'll see. You need to be careful. The boat is basically sitting on its side, but there are rails and stuff that come up, like it comes. The seabed's about 30 meter, and this comes all the way up to about 15. So it is quite it's quite tall, you know. There's lots of rope and other stuff on it. You just need to be careful, and then you're just trying to make sure that you can tag the bottom. Actually feel it hitting that there. Doesn't look as if there's much on it, to be honest, on the sounder, so. Come past that wreck there, and I literally didn't even see anything on it, but I'm going to try and drift over the back of it, so I'll go out and round, and I'll come back round, I'll drift over the top of it again. But this time I've got like wee shamrock lures. These are really good for pollock and stuff, but they're like a, how well you can see this, but they've obviously, they're like, I don't know, they're like imitating little fish, but they've also got like a little spinner on the nose of them. So what I'll do is I'll go back round and I'll drop this down and I'll jig as I'm going past, just to see if I can entice a bite with anything. But yeah, we'll do that again. I don't know whether you can see this, but this is the swell from the ferry. And it's massive. I'm down the trough at the minute and coming up. I don't know whether you can see that or how well you can see it, but as soon as those boats get out of the lock, they just gun it, to be honest. And this is what you need to be careful of whenever you're fishing about here, especially if it's a bit choppy, because it's alright whenever it's nice and calm like this, you just drift up over the top of it. But whenever it's really choppy, yeah, it can be a wee bit rough. So yeah, we'll go around here anyway. We'll give this a go. So I'm just tagging over the top of the wreck. It's come up. It's actually 25 meters up to about 15. So you're finding a balance here. You're trying to, you know, you're trying to keep your lures as close to the wreck as possible, but you know, obviously it's a shipwreck, so it's snaggy. You know, there's going to be bits of metal and ropes and old fishing gear and all probably sitting all over it, you know, and you just need to be careful, because if you're dropping down into it, you know, it's not going to be easy to get out of. You'll end up just losing everything, and probably about 25 meters of your braid. So, you know, as soon as your braid touches any bit of sharp metal, just, everything's gone. So you just need to be careful, but also you're still trying to stay down in it with the fish, you know. So, but I'll be honest, there doesn't look to be an awful lot of anything on this wreck at the minute. Again, I think a load of people stopping this wreck on the way up the coast, and I'll be honest, it's probably fished out. I think you probably might need like a bait, like a half a mackerel, you know, mackerel fillet, whatever it is, just to be able to pick up on something, you know, maybe a conger or something living inside the wreck. But yeah, I'm struggling to find any bait today. Again, there just doesn't seem to be any around at the minute. And you would have thought with all that nice weather that we were having that it would have been really good, but it's weird. It can switch on and off just as it can switch off as quick as it's switched on. You know, like the other week I was literally big shoals of mackerel and herring, and then all of a sudden nothing. It's really weird. But yeah, not really much we can do. Can't do nothing if there's no bait fish. Can't go out bait fishing, especially whenever you forget your bait in the house. Tube, like, I swear to God. Yeah, what I'll do is, maybe I can see some birds in the distance there. I might take a wee run over and see if there's anything there on the tide line. I can see a shoal of something at about 10 metre. I'm way down at about 30 here, so try and... Yeah, there's no density to it at all. Like, it's just a load of wee bait fish. Again, there was another ferry come out, so there's another wash heading this way too. See, there's a cormorant just in the distance there too, and he looks like he's looking for his dinner, or his breakfast, whatever you want to call it. Well, it would be breakfast. It's only 20 to 9 in the morning here, like, you know. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm right on the outside of the loch here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head up to where I see those birds and see if there's any mackerel or any kind of bait fish. I'll spin around, you can see where I am. Like, it's no it's no secret to anyone, you know. Anyone that's got avionics or any kind of, you know, map for their boat or chart plotter or whatever can see where this wreck is, you know. It's well known in the area, so it's not like I'm giving anything away, but it's just there's a lovely view here, of the lighthouse here. So I'll spin it round, you can see. So there we go, there's Whitehead Lighthouse, Blackhead below it. Used to fish there as kids. Gonna be honest, there's not really much about there anymore. I don't think there's much about anywhere on the coast these days, to be honest, especially not this time of year. Everything needs to still switch on. It doesn't have to make you feel small whenever you're out here on your wee fishing boat. Whenever you see all these massive, you know, Stanline ferries and stuff coming in, and you know, whenever you see the swells, yeah, you have to be comfortable with it. Takes a while to get used to, I'm not gonna lie. For anyone that fishes from the shore, if you're looking to get a boat, it's not that you're not safe. You know, you're in your boat's floating in the water. It's not like it's just gonna tip over. If you're looking at like forecast and stuff, ideal fishing conditions, even if you've got like say like a half-meter swell, if it's like 12 seconds apart, that's a really long, like, sort of flowing swell. This one here is probably about 3 or 4 seconds, but it couldn't be any bigger than about 0.2, 0.3. There is you'll get like a rogue wave or a rogue swell every now and again. It's like whenever it stacks up, and it'll be normally twice the height of the forecast, so you just need to bear that in mind too. But you know, you can see it here now, it's not actually too bad. It's not even anywhere near bad, it's actually quite pleasant. So yeah, at the minute in Belfast Lough, we've got basically, that's north, so from like a northeast right round to a southeast is not really great fishing here in the loch for anything at all, unless it's like this, unless the conditions are really good, and you're talking, the conditions need to be like, realistically, this is fine. Yesterday it wasn't so great. We were getting a lot. I find southeasterlies are actually the worst because they've got a lot more sea to build up over. Whereas like easterlies, you've got Scotland that's literally right there. Now, if the wind's blowing hard enough, you'll get a decent swell coming in. But on a day like today, there's barely any wind, so you will get like this residual sort of swell here. But yeah, it's very manageable. It's quite pleasant actually. You know, you could sit here with a cup of tea, no problem.
A few moments later.
Yeah, you can see how quickly the sea state changes. We've got tides running in the opposite direction now, and we've got sort of like an easterly slop coming in. What was supposed to be an easterly wind has actually turned into a southwesterly, so it's blowing from like right behind me. You can see here that it kicks up this stupid looking swell, this stupid looking chop, so it's not that comfortable to fish. And then the further you go up around the coast, I went up around the coast anyway, or tried to go up around the coast, and it was just it was like an easterly sort of swell, but it was probably every 3 seconds. So as soon as the tide turns up outside the loch, it'll end up like this and it'll be near unfishable. But anyway, there you go, you get to see the best and the worst all within the space of an hour or two. Literally. So yeah, as you can see, the conditions have changed a fair bit actually. We've got like an easterly wind blowing this chop in now, and it's not comfortable at all. Definitely not comfortable to fish. You can see they're starting to break and stuff, but you could fish it, but I'll be honest, I haven't even caught anything. There's been nothing around. No mackerel, no bait fish. I was even fishing close in there for a few pollock and fished a wreck with no luck as well. So yeah, I think it's just a case of trying to get home here and try and take it easy. A wee bit more valley here to get on top of these waves, but yeah, you can see that the conditions can change in the matter of an hour, so that's why you need to be careful. Hey, see this chopping behind us now? Right, well, okay, take it easy. Thanks for joining.